Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I have a top 5 video for you guys on GTA Online. And this video, we are going to be focusing on the new update, the Drug Wars, which is actually coming out in a few days. So this video, like I always do these videos before updates, is I'm going to talk about the top 5 things that I think the update should and shouldn't do. These are things that my personal opinion, I think would make this update better. We're going to be covering things that I would personally like to see, and things that I would not like to see. And hopefully you guys enjoy the video. So anyways, let's get started. Top 5 things the Drug Wars DLC should and shouldn't do. Starting off at number 5, I want to talk about something that I think is pretty important, but I don't think enough people are talking about it in regards to this update, and that is Smuggler's Run. Now, what would Smuggler's Run have to do with this update exactly? So from this update, we know that Smuggler's Run is now getting a triple permanent boost. And the reason that Rockstar is giving, Smuggler's Run this triple permanent boost is for obvious reasons. Smuggler's Run is the least used business in this game, but why is that? The reason that Smuggler's Run is actually the least used business in this game isn't actually just because of the payouts. Sure, the payouts do have an influence on that, but it's also because of the time and effort for it. Now, what I mean by this is that we should be allowed to source 4 crates at a time. One thing that's really annoying about Smuggler's Run is that when you try to source a crate, if you're playing by yourself, you source just 1 crate at a time. That's it. If you have 3 other people in your MC or CEO, you're going to source 4 crates. If you have 3 people altogether, including yourself, 3 crates. 2 people altogether, 2 crates. So the amount of crates that spawn are totally dependent on how many people that you have in your MC or your CEO. And the mission actually does not become any easier if you're spawning crates by yourself, which means that you actually have to do 50 missions by yourself in order to fully fill it up. And this gets me really annoyed. One of the things that I actually like about Smuggler's Run a lot is I like that you can actually drop crates on the roof of the hangar. That makes it easier because then you can go and get the other crate and you don't have to constantly get teleported inside the hangar like you get teleported in the CEO crate business. But the CEO crate business, you can actually spawn 3 crates. You can buy 3 crates and spawn them. So if Rockstar is going to increase the payouts and buff the payouts on Smuggler's Run, what they should also do is they should also let you source 4 crates at a time. If I'm like spawning narcotics or chemicals, for instance, I should be able to get 4 crates at a time. I don't mind, going back and forth 4 times. I'm fine with that. Just don't make me do 50 separate missions. Let me do 1 mission, pick up 1 crate, fly back to the hangar, drop it, get the other crate, fly back to the hangar, and just do that 4 times. Some of these aircraft that we have in the game will let us do it pretty quickly. We got helicopters like the Akula, we got jets like the Molotov that are fast and very easy to land. Got plenty of aircraft that we could do it with, so please, let us source 4 crates at a time. Don't just increase the pay. I'm fine with that, I like it, but let us source 4 crates at a time. This would make, Smuggler's Run players and, aviation players just so much more happier. Next at number 4, we have a good story. Now, what I mean by this is that in this DLC, we're actually supposed to get 2 parts, at least according to the Newswire. And so they've also promised that there's going to be some kind of story in here. And so by a story, I want a good story. I don't just want generic contact missions where we drive over in an area, kill a bunch of enemies, and it just says mission passed. I don't want something like that. I want a story that has actual cutscenes to it. I want characters to be involved in the story. Something like the Contract DLC storyline. I want something like that. I don't want, a storyline like we had gotten with the UL Paper missions with the with these Criminal Enterprises DLC. Now, don't get me wrong, it's better than nothing, but the problem I had with the ULP missions is at least they weren't, as generic as contact missions, but there's only 1 cutscene in the entire storyline. Just 1 at the very beginning. That's it. And so, you're sent on a bunch of these ridiculous, missions. You're trying to stop the Duggins again, but the thing is, the villain in this DLC, in the last one, just sucked. It was a boring villain, he was totally forgetful. Like, I forgot even what his name was. I know he was one of the Duggins, but I even forgot what his name was. And all the enemy does at the end is he just runs away. There's no cutscene. He just runs away in a helicopter. Compare this to the Casino DLC storyline that we had gotten, or even the Contract DLC storyline. In the Casino DLC storyline, I remember the villain's name. His name was actually Avery Duggan. And at the very end of the storyline, you see him actually panic. He gets all confident at the beginning, but then you actually see him panic, and you actually see him try to make an escape for it. And, then there's a whole wrap-up of the Casino storyline, and it actually ties directly into the Casino heist. The Casino storyline, the Contract DLC storyline, these were great storylines, like trying to retrieve, Dr. Dre's music, and also, trying to save, the casino from the Duggins. These were good storylines. I actually did enjoy them. I enjoyed them pretty much almost as much as I did the single-player content. I think they were well-written, and I think they were done good. So I want something like this. Don't give us generic contact missions. Don't make it like a boring story where you just basically have, 1 cutscene and that's it. I don't mind if there's like, if there's some free mode missions or something like that. I'm actually fine with that. But when it comes to the story in this DLC, I want a good storyline. I want the characters to be in cutscenes. I want some character development. I don't want to just go over here, kill these enemies, and then that's it, mission passed. Something better than what we had gotten with the Criminal Enterprises DLC. Moving on to number 3, we have an interesting, useful, mobile drug lab. And what I mean by this is that in the news information that we had gotten, it's heavily implied that we're going to have some kind of mobile drug lab, some kind of vehicle that we're going to be able to manage some parts of the business, at least from it. And as far as we know, this vehicle will probably be the Brigade, which you guys see me driving. Now, this is actually a weird one, because this vehicle has actually been in the game for over 6.5 years now. This vehicle actually came out in June of 2016. And the only time that we've really used this vehicle, I almost never see this vehicle in free mode. Almost never. You can spawn it as a CEO in free mode for $9,000, but I almost never see it. The only time I actually do see it is I see it during sell missions for CEO crates, because sometimes you drive it. And this vehicle, it's actually a pretty fast for its size. However, though, it has really bad handling and actually can get hooked onto stuff. So I really hope that the version that we actually get in the DLC, because we do see it, has a different paint job, which implies it's going to have customization and also a ramp on it. So hopefully it can smash vehicles out of the way, has a little bit better handling, we can upgrade the engine, upgrade the armor on it, because this vehicle actually does get blown up in just one RPG. I really hope that this vehicle, when it spawns, lets us run the actual business from it, like some kind of mobile drug lab that we drive around in, lets us run the business, because we're probably going to have some kind of property that we're going to have to purchase, but this is probably going to be the vehicle on the side. So hopefully it's something like a Terabyte, and again, the Terabyte still does not let us, sell in private lobbies. So I hope that issue is also fixed. But just basically quickly here is I hope we have a very interesting, mobile drug lab vehicle that allows us to upgrade it and access huge parts of the business, because people don't want to constantly, drive over to the business. If we can just spawn the mobile drug lab, take care of things there, a lot of people would appreciate it. Next at number 2, we have no raid missions, none. Now this one I don't really gotta explain, but this was very important here, which is why I actually made this number 2. Now, the reason that I don't want any kind of raid missions in this DLC is because we already have so many raid missions. CEO crates, nightclub has actually 2 different raid missions, one where your actual nightclub income can get attacked, and your nightclub cargo, you have the CEO crate raid. I don't think that the import-export has a raid, but correct me if I'm wrong on that, but regardless, there's just so many raid missions, and raid missions do not add any fun to the game. I've seen some people that defend raid missions saying they make the game more fun and challenging. No, they don't. They don't, because it's fun and challenging when there's a reward for it. But for raid missions, you don't get any kind of reward. You could be in the middle of something, and you just get a random phone call from LJT or somebody else, and they just tell you your business is getting raided, and you gotta get over there. And now there's actually ghost raids, where sometimes your businesses will get raided, and you won't even be told about it, and your crates will actually go missing. So raid missions do not add anything interesting to the game. They make the game more annoying. You don't get any kind of reward for it, so please don't add another raid mission, because now we're gonna have to deal with MC raids, CEO crate raids, nightclub raids, and now these drug war, acid, raids. No, please, no raid missions, none. And the number one thing that I think this DLC should not do is don't have a repetitive business. Now, what I mean by this is that this is a DLC that's going to be focused specifically on this business's drug lab, hallucinogenic, drug, whatever this thing is that we're moving, but it's going to be some kind of business where we're moving these illegal drugs. This business cannot be repetitive, and a perfect example of repetitive business is CEO crates. Now, CEO crates, don't get me wrong, they are very profitable. And Rockstar actually made them a little bit less repetitive by actually adding the Lupe, source ability, where Lupe and, her team will be able to source some crates for you. So they actually did improve on that. But the problem was that it's still kind of repetitive, where you just basically source crates and you go and pick them up. And sometimes the missions can get really annoying, where there's like 3 drops and you gotta go and get each drop, back and forth, and you just drive it to the warehouse. And it takes around 5 to 6 hours to fill up 111 crate warehouse, around there. And that's if you have people helping you. If you don't have people helping you, then it's going to take much longer than that. So that's why people don't do crates, and people can't stand crates. A lot of people actually prefer the MC business as bunker and the nightclub, because those are just produced and you can just do other things and you don't have to constantly do missions for it. So what I want is, I want this business to be unique. I want it to be fun. I don't want it just to be another business where you just drive over there, you get some drugs, and you just bring it back to your drug lab. It's probably going to be a passive business, at least that's what I think. If it's like some kind of drug lab, it's probably going to produce passively. How similar it's going to be to the other MC businesses, I have no idea. Now, I know what some people are thinking. Professional, what could Rockstar do to make it different than like an MC business? You know, what could they do to make it not repetitive? I'll give you a perfect example. What they could do is they could apply the same heist formula that they had to this business. I'm not talking about, you know, an actual heist, but what I'm talking about is the formula, the mission types itself. How the business could basically work, and maybe it's like a passive business. Maybe it could be where you choose the sell mission. You ever think about it? If they actually let you choose the sell missions, wouldn't that make the business more unique if you could actually choose how it sells? Because a lot of the other businesses, you can't choose how it sells, and so you get a lot of these really bad missions. If, for example, I'll give you what I think about this. If you have, like, 3 different prep missions. Like, for instance, your cook is like preparing stuff like that, and you can and those missions, depending on which ones you do, determine the sell mission at the end. So maybe you would have like one option where you can steal something from the Lost. You go over to the Lost, you fight a bunch of bikers and stuff like that, and then at the end of it, you might have like a biker sale or something like that. And another one, you choose another mission type where there's a few missions involving hippies and stuff like that, and then at the end you have maybe some big sale where the hippies come after you, something like that. But basically, what I mean is that you have a few missions that you choose, and depending on those missions that you choose, you get a different sell mission. It's not like just a randomized sell mission, something stupid like post-up, and actually make it interesting. And make it so that all these missions, if we do have something like that where we can actually choose our sell missions, make it so that the missions are unique and they're fun. If you make it so that one mission is way easier than the other missions, everybody's just going to play that one mission. Make it so that the missions are basically equally challenging and equally rewarding. They all give you similar rewards. That'll diversify the gameplay and encourage players to do more missions. We can choose the missions. I think that'll be a lot more fun than, you know, going over to an area, just retrieving some crates, and you're driving back or buying supplies and letting the businesses produce. So that's it. I just hope this business isn't repetitive, and I want it to be unique. I don't want it to be another MC business. I don't want it to be another CEO crate business. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, do drop a like, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.